Miran had never felt comfortable on the alien vessel. It was not that the crew treated him badly. In fact, they treated him with respect because he was one of the few humans invited to serve on their ship. Still, the walls of the vessel were alive, pulsing faintly with blue veins of light. Every step echoed softly, as if the ship itself listened. It was so different from the cold steel of Earth's starships. He often told himself to stay calm, to look professional, to prove that humans deserved their place among the stars. Yet every time Commander Sorel walked into the control deck, his nerves tightened. Sorel was not human. Her tall figure was covered in strange silver-blue armor that seemed to flow around her like water. The armor never looked the same for long. One moment it was sharp and edged, the next it softened into smooth curves. The alien crew acted as if nothing was unusual, but to Miran, it was impossible not to stare. The first time he saw her armor move on its own, he thought it was some advanced technology. But then on another day he swore the armor shifted in response to her mood, glowing brighter when she grew angry, softening when she gave orders in a calm voice. Miran tried to be careful. He had trained for months before being chosen for this mission. Humans were new to the Alliance, and any mistake could make them look weak. His job was simple: observe, learn, and assist when asked. But his curiosity often got the better of him. This particular day, the control deck was filled with activity. Alien officers sat at glowing panels, their hands moving over strange symbols that looked like dancing light. Charts of star systems filled the main screen. They were preparing for a journey into uncharted space. Miran stood at his usual station, near the rear, quietly taking notes. Then Sorel entered. The room grew quiet for a moment. She carried herself with authority, her armor rippling with light like waves on a dark ocean. She walked to the center, giving commands in her deep, steady voice. Miran's eyes followed the movement of the armor. It was not just clothing. It responded to her. It breathed with her. It looked alive. He leaned forward slightly, his thoughts whispering inside his head. Her armor moves like it's alive. But then he realized, too late, that he had spoken the words aloud. The control deck fell silent. Dozens of alien eyes turned toward him. Miran froze, his face hot, his heart pounding in his chest. He wanted to vanish into the floor. Commander Sorel turned slowly, her piercing gaze locking on him. The lights of her armor pulsed brighter, as if reacting to what he had said. "Human," she said in her low voice. "Repeat what you just spoke." Miran's mouth went dry. His training told him to stay calm, to explain politely. But his mind was blank. He opened his mouth and stammered. I only said, your armor, it moves like it's alive." A heavy silence followed. The alien officers whispered among themselves, their voices sharp and confused. Some looked alarmed, others skeptical. Sorel studied him for a long moment, her expression unreadable. Then, to everyone's shock, the armor around her chest rippled, glowing faintly as if it was listening too. Miran took a step back. His heart raced faster. He had only spoken what he observed. Why was everyone staring at him like he had broken some unspoken law? Finally, Sorel raised her hand. The room fell silent again. "Leave us," she ordered. The alien officers obeyed, quickly, their glowing symbols fading from the panels as they left the control deck. Within moments, only Miran and Sorel remained. She walked toward him slowly, each step echoing in the living walls of the ship. The closer she came, the more he felt the energy radiating from her armor. It was like standing near a storm. "You should not be able to sense it," Sorel said softly. Miran frowned. "Sense what? I only saw it move. I spoke without thinking. I didn't mean to offend you." Her eyes narrowed. "Offend? No. You have revealed something impossible. No human should see the life within my armor. Even most species in the Alliance cannot. Only my people can feel its breath." Miran blinked in confusion. " 'Life? You mean it really is alive?" She tilted her head slightly, watching his reaction. Yes. This is no machine. It is a symbiotic partner, bonded to me since my training, as a warrior. It shields me, strengthens me, and shares my thoughts. Yet you looked at it and spoke the truth. How? Miran felt his knees weaken. He had no answer. I don't know, I just felt it, like it wasn't just shining or glowing, it was listening, so I thought. He stopped, realizing how foolish he sounded. But Sorel did not laugh. Instead, she studied him even more closely. For the first time, there was a flicker of surprise in her expression. Humans, she said slowly, are full of mystery. Miran tried to explain again, but the words tumbled out awkwardly. I swear, I didn't mean to speak it out loud. It was just a thought. Her armor pulsed brighter, almost as if it responded to his honesty. For a brief second, Miran thought he heard something, like a soft hum inside his head, faint but real. He shook his head quickly, thinking it was his imagination. Sorel seemed to notice. You hear it too, don't you? Miran froze. Hear? What? The whisper of the symbiote, she said firmly. It spoke to you. Miran opened his mouth, then closed it again. He wanted to deny it, to say no, but he could not lie. Maybe, just for a moment. A hum, like it was alive. Like it was. Sorel finished for him. Acknowledging you. The words hung in the air. For the first time since joining the mission, Miran realized he was standing on the edge of something far bigger than himself. He had thought he was just an observer, a human guest learning about the Alliance. But now, he felt a strange connection, one that even the alien commander did not expect. Her gaze softened slightly. You have done what no outsider has done before. You have touched its voice. From this moment, your place on this ship will not be the same. Miran's pulse hammered in his ears. He wanted to ask what she meant, but the words would not come. Sorel turned away, her armor still glowing faintly. Rest tonight, human. Tomorrow you will come with me to the symbiosis chamber. There, we will test what you truly are. Miran swallowed hard. His accidental slip, one careless spoken thought, had changed everything. And deep inside, though he was afraid, he could not help but feel a spark of excitement. The next day came too quickly for Miran. He barely slept during the night. Every time he closed his eyes, he remembered the way Commander Sorel had looked at him, as if she was studying something impossible. He remembered the hum in his head, faint but real, like a whisper from the armor itself. When the ship's walls glowed with morning light, Miran rose and put on his uniform. His hands shook as he adjusted the collar. He told himself to be calm. He had faced difficult tests before, long training hours, survival drills, even a simulated battle scenario. But this was different. This was not training. This was something unknown. The call came from the commander herself. Human, report to the symbiosis chamber. Her voice over the intercom was calm, steady, and yet filled with a weight that pressed against him. Miran took a deep breath and walked through the living corridors of the ship. The walls pulsed faintly under his hands, as if alive. He wondered if the entire vessel was built with the same kind of symbiotic life. As he walked, alien officers stepped aside, their eyes following him. He felt their stares. Some were curious, others suspicious. A few whispered to each other in their own language. Miran did not need to understand the words. He knew what they were saying. How can a human sense the armor? Is he dangerous? What does it mean? When he reached the chamber doors, two tall guards stood waiting. Their armor was similar to Soreel's, though duller, less alive. They stepped aside when she appeared. Commander Sorel walked with her usual calm strength. Her armor flowed across her form, glowing faintly in silver-blue ripples. Her sharp eyes studied Miran for only a second, before she gestured for him to follow. The doors opened with a deep sound, and Miran stepped inside the symbiosis chamber. The chamber was vast, round, and filled with a soft humming. The walls glowed with living veins of light. In the center was a wide platform surrounded by pools of liquid silver. The liquid shifted as if breathing, forming shapes that broke apart and reformed. Moran's mouth went dry. He had never seen anything like it. Sorel spoke softly, her voice echoing. "This is the place where my people bond with their armor. The symbiotes wait here, growing, learning, listening. When a warrior is ready, one chooses them. It is a sacred bond. No outsider has ever entered this chamber." Miran hesitated. "And you want me to try?" Her eyes fixed on him. "You have already been noticed. Last night my armor reacted to your words. It does not do that with strangers. The symbiotes are curious about you. I will not stop you if you are afraid. But if you are willing, we will see what they decide." Miran looked at the pools. The liquid seemed alive, shifting in slow waves. He felt the same faint hum in his mind, stronger now, as if the chamber itself was speaking to him. He swallowed hard and nodded. "I'll try." Sorel gave a slight nod, then raised her voice. "Begin the test." The pool stirred. The liquid, silver, rose into the air in thin streams, circling around the platform. The hum grew louder. Moran stepped carefully onto the platform, his boots making soft ripples. He stood in the center, trying to steady his breath. The streams of silver circled, him moving faster as if studying him. One brushed against his arm. It was cold at first, then warm, then pulsing with a rhythm like a heartbeat. Miran gasped quietly. The hum in his head grew sharper. He closed his eyes for a moment and listened. He could not hear words, but there was a feeling, a presence, something alive and aware. "Speak," Sorel said from the edge of the platform. "Tell them what you feel." Moran opened his eyes, the silver streams still circling him. He took a shaky breath. I feel like they're watching me. Not with eyes, but with attention. Like they're asking who I am." Sorel's expression remained calm, but her eyes widened slightly. The alien officers who had entered behind her whispered among themselves. Moran continued, words tumbling out before he could stop them. "They don't feel hostile. More like curious. They want to know if I'm afraid." The silver stream slowed, hovering close to his skin. The hum softened, matching the rhythm of his heartbeat. Sorel spoke again, her voice deeper now. "Answer them, human. Are you afraid?" Moran clenched his fists. He wanted to say yes because he was terrified. But instead he forced himself to be honest. "Yes, I am afraid. But I'm still here." The streams suddenly rushed toward him. He flinched, expecting pain, but instead the liquid wrapped gently around his arms, his chest, his legs. It was like being covered by flowing water, yet it held him with strength. Gasps filled the chamber. The alien officers stepped forward in shock. The silver spread across his body, pulsing with light. Miran felt the hum inside his head grow louder, turning into a steady rhythm that blended with his own heartbeat. His fear faded, replaced by calm. For a moment, he felt as if he was not alone in his mind. Something was there with him, not speaking, in words but sharing feelings, curiosity, recognition, even acceptance. Moran whispered without thinking. "You know me." The silver pulsed in response. Sorel's voice broke the silence. "Impossible." Miran turned his head toward her, his eyes wide. "It's not hurting me. It's welcoming me." The armor shifted again, pulling back slightly, then wrapping more firmly around his chest. A faint glow spread from it, silver mixed with pale blue. The alien officers were no longer whispering. They were openly shocked, some pointing, some shaking their heads. One of them stepped forward and spoke in a sharp tone, addressing Sorel. "This cannot be allowed. He is not of our kind. The bond is sacred. If the symbiote accepts him, it changes everything." Sorel raised her hand, silencing him. Her expression was unreadable, but her eyes stayed on Moran. The silver slowly withdrew, sliding back into the pools until it left only a faint shimmer on Miran's uniform. The hum faded, though not completely. It still lingered in his head, like a memory that refused to leave. Moran stood there, shaking, breathing hard. He felt both drained and alive at the same time. Surreal stepped closer, her armor glowing faintly. You have done what no outsider has ever done. The symbiotes tested you, and they did not reject you. They touched your spirit. And they listened. Moran opened his mouth, then closed it again. Finally, he managed, "What does that mean?" Her gaze was steady. "It means you are no longer just a guest on this ship. You are something more. My people will want answers. Some will see you as a gift. Others will see you as a threat." Moran felt the weight of her words. He looked at the pools, still shifting, faintly, as if alive. He could not explain what had just happened, but deep inside he knew it was only the beginning. Sorel's final words echoed in the chamber. "Your revelation will shake the Alliance, and for humanity this is only the first step." The news spread quickly through the ship. By the next day, everyone knew what had happened in the symbiosis chamber. The whispers followed Moran wherever he went. When he walked through the corridors, alien officers turned their heads, their eyes full of questions. Some stared with open curiosity, others with unease, and a few with clear suspicion. Moran tried to keep his head down, but he could feel the weight of their gazes. He had not asked for this attention. All he had done was speak his thoughts aloud. Yet now he carried something larger than himself, a secret that had shaken the order of the crew. The hum in his mind had not disappeared. It lingered quietly, faint but steady, as if a small piece of the symbiote still reached for him. Sometimes, when he focused, he thought he felt emotions that were not his own: curiosity, calm, even gentle approval. It frightened him at first, but after a while it gave him a strange comfort. Commander Sorel, however, treated him with more focus than ever. She called him often to the control deck, asked him questions about what he felt, and sometimes simply studied him in silence. Her armor glowed faintly whenever she stood near him, as if it too was aware of the strange connection. But not everyone welcomed him. One evening, while Moran was reviewing navigation logs in a quiet chamber, 3 alien officers entered. Their tall figures blocked the doorway. Their eyes were sharp, their armor dull but strong. "You," the first officer said coldly. "Human, you must explain yourself." Moran stood slowly. His chest tightened. "Explain what?" The second officer stepped closer. "How did you deceive the symbiotes? No outsider can be accepted. It is against nature." "I didn't deceive anyone," Moran said quickly. "I only stood there. I only felt what they were showing me." The third officer hissed. "Lies. If the symbiotes accept you, it means one of two things. Either you are not human or you carry some hidden power. Both are dangerous." Before Moran could answer, a calm but firm voice echoed from behind them. "Enough." Sorel stepped into the room. Her armor glowed brighter, rippling with sharp edges that warned of her authority. The 3 officers immediately lowered their heads. She moved past them and stood before Moran. "He owes you no explanation. The symbiotes chose to test him, and they did not reject him, that is all." The first officer bowed his head slightly. "Commander, forgive us. But if the human is truly compatible, then what does it mean for our people? What if he is a danger to the Alliance?" Sorel's eyes hardened. "Then it is my responsibility to discover the truth. Until then, you will show him the same respect you show any officer on this ship." The 3 officers bowed again, then left in silence. Moran let out a shaky breath. "Thank you. I didn't know what to say." Sorel studied him carefully. "You must be ready, human. The bond you touched is not a small matter. Some will fear you. Some will envy you. Others will want to use you. If you cannot stand firm, you will be swept away by their doubts." Moran lowered his eyes. "I never wanted any of this." Her voice softened slightly. "None of us choose how destiny touches us, but once it does, we must answer." The following day, the situation grew more serious. The ship reached a star system near the edge of explored space. It was a quiet system with dim light and broken asteroids. The crew prepared for a scouting mission, but tensions were high. The alien officers who doubted Moran had not forgotten their anger. During the morning meeting, Sorel addressed the crew. Her armor glowed with calm strength as she spoke. "We will explore this system carefully. Reports suggest hostile raiders may be near. All warriors must be ready for combat." Moran stood at the side, listening. Suddenly, one of the doubtful officers stepped forward. "Commander, if the human is truly touched by the symbiotes, let him prove it. Let him join us in training. If he fails, then we will know the truth." Murmurs spread across the room. Many officers nodded in agreement. Sorel looked at Moran. Her eyes held no softness now, only challenge. "What say you, human? Will you face their test?" Moran's heart pounded. He wanted to refuse, to say he was not ready, but he knew that would only make things worse. If he turned away, the crew would see him as a fraud. Slowly, he nodded. "I'll do it." The training ground was a vast open chamber filled with glowing platforms. Alien warriors trained there daily, fighting against symbiotic constructs that tested their skill. Moran had watched them before, but he had never stepped onto the platform himself. As he entered, the officers gathered around to watch. Some whispered doubt, others anticipation. Sorel stood at the edge, her armor glowing faintly. "You will face the symbiotic trial. A fragment will test your spirit. If you endure, you may stand among us. If you fail, it will reject you. Do you understand?" Moran swallowed hard. "I understand." The floor rippled, and from it rose a figure made of liquid silver. It shaped itself into a tall warrior form, faceless but solid, glowing with faint blue light. Moran stepped onto the platform. The hum in his head grew louder. He felt the presence again, curious, watchful. The silver warrior moved. It struck quickly, its arm shifting into a blade. Moran jumped back, barely avoiding the blow. His training as a human officer had given him agility, but this was faster, stronger. He struggled at first, dodging and stumbling. The alien officers watching shook their heads. Some muttered that the human would fail. But then Moran remembered what had happened in the chamber. He closed his eyes for half a second, focusing on the hum inside his mind. He stopped running. Instead, he opened his thoughts. "I am not your enemy," he thought. "I only want to understand you." The silver warrior paused for a brief moment, its glowing, body flickering. The crowd gasped. Moran moved forward carefully. "You're not just testing my body. You're testing my spirit, aren't you?" The warrior shifted again, this time attacking slower as if measuring him. Moran dodged, then stood firm. He felt calm now, no longer just fighting but connecting. Each strike became a question, and each movement of his body became an answer. Finally, the silver warrior stopped. Its form rippled, then dissolved back into the floor. The hum in Moran's head pulsed warmly, like a quiet approval. The chamber fell silent. Sorel stepped forward, her armor glowing brightly. The symbiote has accepted his answer. He did not fight with anger, but with understanding. He has passed the challenge. The alien officers looked at each other in shock. Some bowed their heads reluctantly. Others simply stared at Moran with wide eyes. Moran stood there, breathing hard, his chest rising and falling. He had not won with strength. He had won by listening. Sorel looked at him with pride that she did not try to hide. "You are not like us, human. Yet the symbiotes see something in you that even we cannot deny. From this day, you are no longer only an observer. You are a bridge." Moran felt the weight of her words. The whispers in the chamber changed. No longer only doubt. Now there was respect. And though he did not fully understand what had just begun, he knew one thing. His life, and perhaps humanity's place in the galaxy, would never be the same. After the challenge, Moran felt a strange calm. He walked through the corridors of the ship, noticing for the first time how quiet it had become. The whispers of curiosity and doubt had turned into cautious respect. Alien officers gave him space, and even those who doubted him no longer spoke openly against him. Yet Miran could not ignore the hum in his head. It was faint, almost like a heartbeat, but constant. He felt it when he walked, when he ate, even when he slept. The symbiote, or what he now understood as part of Commander Sorrell's living armor, had left a trace inside him. Sorrell summoned him to the observation deck. She stood alone, her armor glowing faintly in silver and blue light, rippling like living water. The view of the stars outside was breathtaking, but Miran barely noticed. He focused on her, sensing the quiet energy that seemed to flow between them. "You have endured much, human," she said. Her voice was calm, but carried weight. "But the true test begins now. You will bond with a symbiote." Miran froze. He had faced the trial, survived and gained recognition, but bonding. That was the sacred ritual he had heard about. Only warriors of her species had bonded with the living armor before. The symbiotes chose carefully. Failure could harm him, or, worse, reject him completely. I don't know if I'm ready," he admitted. Sorrell stepped closer, her armor pulsing gently. "You are already ready. You have proven yourself by listening, by understanding. The symbiote will know." Miran took a deep breath and followed her to the bonding chamber. The room was even larger than the training chamber, filled with the soft glow of bioluminescent walls and pools of silver liquid. Streams of energy arched and twisted through the air, creating patterns that shifted like living constellations. The symbiote waited in the center, its form fluid and shifting, its glow pulsing softly. It was both intimidating and beautiful. Miran's heart raced as he stepped closer. The hum in his mind grew louder, like a wave brushing against his thoughts. Sorrell placed a hand on his shoulder. "Trust yourself, human. Speak what you feel. The bond requires honesty. Do not hide your fear or doubt." Miran nodded, swallowing hard. He could feel the presence of the symbiote, not just as energy but as something aware. It is alive. It is watching me, judging me. He closed his eyes and focused. "I am here. I do not seek to harm you. I only wish to understand." The symbiote reacted. Its form shifted, forming into a tall humanoid shape that mirrored his posture. Miran felt a tug at his mind, gentle but insistent, as if the creature was testing his spirit. He shivered but held steady. "Speak," Sorrell encouraged. "Tell it what you feel," Miran whispered, barely audible. I am afraid. I don't know what will happen, but I am willing. I am willing to learn." The symbiote's glow brightened. Streams of silver and blue moved toward him, circling his body. He flinched at first, but did not resist. They touched him gently, cold at first, then warm, pulsing in, rhythm with his heartbeat. He felt the first real connection, a wave of understanding flowing from the symbiote into him. It was not a voice, but a feeling, a current of thought. "You are honest. You are open. You do not fear the truth." Miran's mind raced. He could sense the intelligence inside the living armor. It was curious about him, cautious, yet respectful. He mirrored that feeling. "I wish to respect you. I wish to understand." The symbiote's form pulsed, wrapping around him more fully. Streams of light intertwined with his uniform, flowing over his arms and chest. For the first time, he felt a bond stronger than any connection he had ever known. His heartbeat matched the rhythm of the hum in his head. Sorrell watched silently. She had guided many through this ritual, but she had never seen an outsider withstand it so gracefully. Even the other warriors observing from the edges of the chamber could not hide their astonishment. The symbiote moved closer to Miran's face, a soft glow bathing his features. He felt warmth, understanding, and a strange sense of recognition. "It knows me," Miran whispered again, this time louder. "I am human. I have limits. I make mistakes. But I will do my best. I will listen. I will honor this bond." The symbiote pulsed, then slowly shifted into a form that fused partially with him. Light flowed over his chest, arms, and back. It did not replace him. It became part of him. He could feel it as if it had always been inside him, yet new. He gasped, overwhelmed by the sensation. Power, calm, and awareness filled his body. He could sense the chamber, the room, and even the other observers in a strange, subtle way. It was as if he had opened a door inside his mind and the symbiote was the key. You are extraordinary, Sorel said softly. Her voice carried pride and wonder. No outsider has bonded with one of our warriors before. You have done what was thought impossible. Moran tried to speak but found words difficult. He felt the symbiote's presence merge with his thoughts, and yet he could control it. He understood a little of what it felt. Strength, calm, awareness, even curiosity. He was no longer just himself. The alien officers around the chamber whispered among themselves. Some bowed their heads in respect. Others could only stare. Whispers spread that humans might possess untapped abilities that no one had ever imagined. Surreal stepped closer, her armor glowing softly. The bond is more than power, human. It is trust. The symbiote chose you not for strength alone, but because you were honest, open, and willing to understand. That is the true test. Moran nodded slowly. I feel it. I feel it inside me. It's amazing. I don't know how to explain it. Sorel smiled faintly. You do not need to explain. Only to feel. Only to honor it. Many spend their entire lives trying to achieve what you have done in one moment. The symbiote pulsed again, warmth spreading through him like sunlight. He felt calm, powerful and connected, yet not overwhelmed. It was a balance he had never known existed. You will need to train with it, Sorel continued. You must learn to move with it, think with it, and act with it. Soon you may find that it can anticipate your thoughts, protect you, and even guide you. But it will also test you. It will push your limits. Moran felt a mix of excitement and fear. I will do my best. I want to learn. The symbiote pulsed in rhythm with his heartbeat, as if approving. Moran felt a wave of gratitude, not only toward the creature, but toward Commander Sorel as well. She had guided him to this moment, trusted him when others doubted, and now allowed him to experience something no human had ever known. Sorel's armor shimmered brightly. The bond you share is not only between you and the symbiote. It is a bridge between your species and mine. Others will see what has happened and understand that humans are capable of more than they imagined. This is the first step of a greater journey. Moran's mind raced. He had never thought of humans as special before. He had trained, studied, and worked hard, but never like this. Never as someone capable of forming a bond with alien life unlike any on Earth. The symbiote shifted one last time, wrapping gently around his shoulders. Moran felt warmth, protection, and connection. He whispered, "Thank you." The light slowly faded, leaving a faint shimmer on his uniform. The hum in his mind remained, gentle but steady, a reminder that he was no longer alone, that something extraordinary now shared his existence. Sorel nodded. Rest now, human. Tomorrow we begin the next phase. You will train with the bond, and then the true challenges will come. Be ready. Moran stepped out of the chamber, his legs slightly unsteady but his heart full. The crew whispered around him, but now it was different. Respect, awe, and curiosity replaced fear. He had passed the trial, but more importantly, he had formed a bond that changed everything. For the first time, Moran realized that his place in the galaxy had grown far beyond what he had imagined. He was no longer merely an observer or a visitor. He was part of something larger, something extraordinary, and humanity's future might now be entwined with the mysteries of the Alliance. He looked up at the stars outside the ship, feeling the quiet pulse of the symbiote inside him. The bond had begun. The journey had only just started. The day dawned quietly, but for Moran it felt electric. The hum inside his mind, the steady reminder of the bond, was stronger now, pulsing gently in rhythm with his heartbeat. He could feel the symbiote moving with him, sensing the world around him in ways he had never imagined. Every step was lighter, every thought clearer. Commander Sorrel awaited him on the observation deck. Her armor shimmered softly, reflecting the distant stars through the viewport. She did not speak at first. She simply studied him, eyes sharp, assessing him not as a human, but as someone now carrying the power and trust of her people. "Today," she finally said, "you will demonstrate what it means to carry the bond. Others will see, and the Alliance will know that humans are capable of more than they believed." Miran swallowed. I understand. I will do my best." Sorrel gave a small nod, then gestured for him to follow. The corridors of the ship seemed alive as they moved. The walls pulsed faintly in response to their passage. The crew whispered among themselves, though Miran barely noticed. All eyes were on him, and yet for the first time, he did not feel fear. He felt ready. They arrived at the central chamber where warriors often trained with symbiotes. Today, however, it was not just a test of strength or skill. Today, the entire command crew and several visiting members of the Alliance Council were present. They had come to witness the impossible, a human bonded with a symbiote, performing alongside alien warriors. Miran stepped forward, his shoulders squared. The symbiote pulsed in response, light flowing along his chest and arms. He could feel it anticipating his movements, understanding him even before he moved. The challenge began. Streams of energy erupted from the walls, forming multiple figures made of pure symbiotic energy. They were faster, stronger, and more unpredictable than anything he had faced before. Miran focused, feeling the symbiote guide him. He moved fluidly, dodging, spinning, and countering attacks. Each motion felt instinctive, almost like a dance. The bond amplified his senses, allowing him to anticipate the energy figure's moves before they occurred. The crew gasped at his speed and precision. An alien officer whispered, "No human could move like that, and unless..." Another stopped mid-sentence, eyes wide. Even the visiting council members leaned forward in astonishment. Sorrel watched silently, her armor glowing steadily, pulsing as if in rhythm with Miran's own energy. For her, this was not just a demonstration. It was proof that humans could rise to heights no one expected. Miran dodged a strike from one of the energy forms, then used the momentum to leap high, spinning in the air. The symbiote wrapped lightly around his back, guiding him with invisible support. He landed perfectly, barely bending his knees. The room erupted in murmurs of amazement. He moved again, faster this time, countering multiple energy figures at once. Each strike was precise, efficient, controlled. The bond between him and the symbiote was no longer new. It was instinctive. It responded to him and he to it, as if they had been connected for years rather than days. Finally, the energy forms paused. They dissolved into streams of silver light that returned to the walls. The hum in the room softened. Miran stood tall, chest rising and falling steadily. His uniform glimmered faintly with the symbiote's glow, marking him as more than human yet not entirely alien. The room was silent for a moment, then erupted in applause. Alien officers clapped, council members nodded in awe, and some even bowed. The impossible had happened before their eyes. A human, bonded with a symbiote, had performed at the highest level of their warriors. Sorrel stepped forward, her eyes softening slightly. "You have done more than survive. You have shown understanding, courage, and harmony. The symbiote has chosen you as one of its own, and in doing so, it has changed how the Alliance sees humanity." Miran's heartbeat was still strong, but he felt a calm wash over him. The hum in his mind pulsed gently, as if approving her words. I didn't do it alone," he said quietly. It guided me." Sorrel smiled faintly. "Exactly. That is the nature of the bond. Together you are stronger than either of you alone. Today the humans in this alliance will no longer be underestimated. The council leader stepped forward, an elder of the alien species. His eyes gleamed with intelligence and wisdom. This is beyond belief, he said slowly. A human bonding with a symbiote, performing at the level of a warrior of our people. It is unprecedented. We must reconsider our judgments. Perhaps humans possess abilities we have not yet discovered. Miran bowed slightly, unsure how to respond. Pride surged through him, but humility stayed close behind. He had not done this for glory. He had only tried to understand and respect the symbiote, yet the results were undeniable. Sorel addressed the room again. This human is no longer merely a guest. He represents humanity's potential. We will learn from him as he learns from us, and together we may face challenges the galaxy has never known. Whispers spread quickly among the officers. Many had doubted him before, but now their respect was clear. Humans could no longer be seen as weak or inexperienced. Miran's success had given them proof that courage, honesty, and understanding could bridge species and create something extraordinary. Miran felt the symbiote stir inside him. A soft wave of energy pulsed through his chest. He smiled faintly. He did not fully understand everything about the bond, but he trusted it. He had learned that strength was not just physical, and courage was not just bravery. True power came from understanding and connection. Sorel placed a hand on his shoulder. Rest now. There will be much to train for and many more lessons to come. Today, though, you have shown the galaxy that humans are not to be underestimated. The hum in his mind seemed to answer her words, gentle and approving. Miran nodded. He understood now what she meant. This was more than a personal achievement. This was the beginning of something larger, something that could shape the future of humanity and the Alliance together. As he left the chamber, officers of all species gave him nods of respect. Some even stepped aside to let him pass with honor. For the first time, Miran realized that he was not just a visitor in the galaxy. He was a participant in its story, a symbol of the potential of his people, and a bridge between worlds. Later, alone on the observation deck, Miran looked out at the stars. The hum in his head pulsed quietly, a gentle reminder of the bond. He thought of Earth, of humans who were still learning their place in the galaxy, and he felt hope. Perhaps one day, humanity would stand not just as an ally, but as a force of understanding, courage, and innovation. And maybe, just maybe, humans could achieve what no one else could. The symbiote shifted slightly around him, warm and reassuring. Miran placed a hand on his chest, smiling faintly. He had accidentally spoken a thought days ago, and that small moment had led to this. From a slip of words, a bond had formed, and from that bond, something extraordinary had begun. The stars stretched endlessly before him, and for the first time Miran felt that the universe was not just something to explore, it was something he could help shape. And the humans, he realized, were just getting started.